Hello and welcome to our morning edition of Arirang News on this Christmas Eve. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. A filibuster by the main opposition People Power Party is currently taking place at the National Assembly after the ruling Democratic Party proposed a bill aimed at eradicating false and manipulated information. The filibuster is expected to end around noon, clearing the way for passage of the contentious bill. The Korean government has decided to extend tax cuts on fuel and the individual consumption tax on automobiles to stabilize fuel prices and support a recovery in vehicle sales. The U.S. economy grew more than expected in the third quarter, led by strong consumer spending and a rise in exports. U.S. President Donald Trump touted his economic policies, saying tariffs are the reason for the strong growth. We begin this morning at the National Assembly. A filibuster by the People Power Party is currently taking place after the ruling Democratic Party introduced a bill for punitive damages for false information. Now, this filibuster is expected to end at around midday and follows a 24-hour filibuster against a bill for insurrection tribunals on Tuesday. Our Kim Bo-kyung starts us off.
The ruling Democratic Party placed on Tuesday's plenary session agenda what's been dubbed the Anti-False and Manipulated Information Bill. The core of the bill is to prohibit the distribution of false or manipulated information that infringes on others' personal and property rights or the public interest, with the intent to cause harm or gain unjust benefits. It includes a clause to impose punitive damages of up to 5 times the victim's losses on those who intentionally spread false or manipulated information. This prompted a filibuster from the People Power Party.
They are trying to silence the people in the name of the law and the system. This is not a law to protect victims, but a law intended to block free public opinion and suppress criticism of the government.
Around noon on Wednesday, the filibuster is expected to be forcibly ended through a vote, after which the bill is expected to be passed. This comes after the ruling Democratic Party unilaterally passed a bill on Tuesday to set up a special tribunal to handle insurrection cases stemming from former President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law declaration.
I hereby declare that the amendment to the Special Act on the establishment of a special martial law tribunal and the protection of whistleblowers regarding the martial law bid by Yoon Suk-yeol has been passed.
Lawmakers voted 175 for and 2 against with 2 abstentions, as the People Power Party boycotted the vote. The bill calls for establishing at least 2 special tribunals, each at the Seoul Central District Court and the Seoul High Court, to handle cases of alleged insurrection, treason, and rebellion. The bill mandates that the panel's judges are to be chosen through the judiciary's internal procedures after the earlier version of the bill caused criticism of outside influence regarding the choosing of the judges. Accusing the DP of trying to take control over the judiciary, the lawmakers of the PPP had staged a filibuster to block the bill, with the party's leader Jang Dong-hyuk setting a new record for the longest filibuster speech, speaking for 24 hours. A filibuster can be stopped after 24 hours if at least 3/5 of all lawmakers or 180 members consent to it. With the ruling bloc currently holding more than 190 seats, it ended the filibuster at 11:38 a.m. on Tuesday and put the bill up for a vote. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
President Lee Jae-myung held his first weekly cabinet meeting in Busan on Tuesday, presenting his administration's vision for the city's future. The meeting coincided with the opening of the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries relocated office in Busan. Our presidential office correspondent Song Yoo-jin has the details.
From the center of South Korea's ocean economy to an economic, industrial, and logistics hub for Northeast Asia. That's the vision President Lee Jae-myung has laid out for the southern port city of Busan as he presided over a cabinet meeting in the city for the first time on Tuesday.
항만시설 확충, 고부가가치 서비스 제공, 지역산업 성장 지원을 통해 부산과 동남권을 북극 항로 시대를 선도하는 주인공으로 만들겠습니다.
At the core of the plan is the development of the Arctic shipping route. Linking Asia and Europe through the Arctic Ocean, the route is expected to cut sailing distances and transit times by roughly 30% compared to the current route via the Suez Canal. The administration aims to transform Busan Port, which combines the north and new ports and ranks 7th globally in container traffic, into a key gateway for the route. To support the initiative, the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries plans to build the Jinhae New Port, a next-generation megaport in neighboring Taiwan City, where preliminary construction began this summer.
To secure a competitive edge over rival ports, we must rapidly expand port infrastructure on a global scale. By 2040, we will develop 15 container berths at the Jinhae New Port. We will also accelerate cooperation with the UAE on a physical AI-based smart port project and apply it directly to the port.
The Oceans Ministry also plans to establish large-scale ship repair and shipbuilding facilities in Busan to meet rising demand for icebreakers, ice-class vessels, and U.S. naval ship maintenance. And to ensure smooth implementation, the ministry, the project's control tower, has officially relocated to Busan.
우리 정부 출범 후에 첫 국무회의에서 제가 해수부를 연내 부산 이전을 하자라고 말씀드렸는데 국민들께 그리고 부산 시민들께 그 약속을 지키게 됐습니다.
The ministry's temporary headquarters in Busan opened on the same day. 송유진, Arirang News.
The South Korean government has decided to extend fuel tax cuts for 2 more months in an effort to stabilize fuel prices amid a recent surge in petroleum prices led by the weakening Korean won. The cuts reduce gasoline taxes by 7% and diesel and liquefied petroleum gas by 10%. The government announced that the measure will be extended to the end of February next year, saying it's expected to keep prices down by 57 Korean won per liter for gasoline, 58 won for diesel, and 21 for LPG. Meanwhile, tax cuts on individual car purchases have also been extended by 6 months as part of efforts to support a vehicle sales recovery. The tax rate, originally set at 5%, has been lowered to 3.5%. The measure was set to expire at the end of this year, but has been extended through June 30th next year. Meanwhile, the combined share value held by South Korea's top 100 stockholders surged by nearly $54 billion over the past year to reach about $136 billion at the end of 2025. According to data released Thursday by corporate research firm CEO Score, the total value of shares owned by the top 100 shareholders rose nearly 65% from a year earlier. Topping the list was Lee Jae-yong, chairman of Samsung Electronics, whose personal stock holdings jumped by roughly $8.7 billion in 1 year. Lee's total share value climbed from about $9.3 billion at the end of 2024 to nearly $18 billion this month, driven by sharp gains in Samsung Electronics, Samsung C&T, and Samsung Life Insurance shares. Over in the United States, the country's economy in the third quarter grew at its fastest pace in 2 years, driven by strong consumer spending and a sharp rebound in exports. U.S. President Donald Trump credited the rise to his tariff policies. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
According to an initial estimate released by the U.S. Commerce Department's Bureau of Economic Analysis on Wednesday, the U.S. economy expanded at a 4.3% annualized rate in the third quarter, its fastest pace since the third quarter of 2023. The growth rate significantly exceeded market expectations, as economists polled by Reuters had forecasted GDP growth of 3.3%. The stronger-than-expected performance was driven largely by resilient consumer spending. Household consumption rose at its fastest pace in nearly a year, as Americans spent more on recreational goods, vehicles, and international travel, underscoring continued demand despite elevated living costs. Exports also rebounded sharply, providing another major boost to economic growth. Business investment remained solid, with companies continuing to invest in equipment and artificial intelligence, reflecting confidence in long-term productivity gains. Government spending, particularly on defense, also contributed positively to GDP. Following the GDP report, U.S. President Donald Trump issued a public message linking the stronger growth figures to his trade policies. In a post on Truth Social, Trump stated that tariffs were responsible for what he described as great U.S. economic numbers, adding that the economy would continue to improve further. He also claimed inflation was absent and cited strong national security. Financial markets also responded positively to the economic data. U.S. stocks advanced with the S&P 500 closing at a record high as investors reacted to the stronger growth outlook.
And so we see pretty much all the indices today being up on positive news, and the expectation that the economy is stronger than we're giving it credit for in the market at this point.
Economists say easing policy uncertainty, the impact of tax cuts, and recent monetary easing are expected to support stronger U.S. economic growth in 2026. 이승재, Arirang News.
South Korea has hosted a record number of foreign travelers so far this year, and a special event at Incheon International Airport sought to celebrate this milestone. Our Kim Do-yeon has this report.
Charmaine Lee, a Singaporean national, walks through the gate at Incheon Airport and is surprised by an overwhelming greeting. This is because she just became 18,500,000th visitor to South Korea this year. This is the first time the nation has seen such a number. But for Charmaine, this isn't her first time in Korea.
So I kind of visit Korea once a year, so probably more than 10 right now.
This event came on Tuesday morning as, according to the Tourism Ministry, the nation is expected to welcome even more foreign visitors this year, exceeding 18.7 million. The last record was set in 2019 prior to the COVID-19 pandemic at 17.5 million. But with COVID hitting the world in 2020, numbers fell and started picking up again until this peak this year.
With the global rise of popularity for K-culture, for many tourists, South Korea became a country to visit right now instead of a country to visit in the future.
The Vice Minister also attributed the strategic use of K-culture, global marketing, and market diversification. Especially with KPop Demon Hunters, the government believes the numbers have gone up, but also the way Korea is toured has changed.
It shows in the numbers that K-pop Demon Hunters affect the nation's tourism. It also affects the quality of tourism. Before, it was more focused on duty-free spending, but now visitors focus on enjoying Korean culture here.
As for specific nationalities, China topped the list. Arrivals from China saw a sharp rise in July and August, driven by women in their 20s to 40s. Visitors from Taiwan increased by 27% on year, setting a new record for that market, while Japanese tourist numbers reached 3.61 million, the highest figure since 2012. Long-haul markets also showed strength, with visitors from the Americas and Oceania growing 14%, following the expansion of flight routes. The Vice Minister also added that next year's goal is 20 million and 30 million by 2030. He also said there is a long way to go, as most tourism is done in the capital region and the return rate is relatively low. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
It's Christmas Eve, and the holiday season is all about giving. For more on how South Koreans are reaching out to those in need and how the culture of giving is evolving, we're joined today by Park Jae-seok, Regional Representative of Turkiye and Syria Earthquake Operations at the Korean National Red Cross. Mr. Park, thanks for joining us this morning.
Okay, good morning.
So how is donation activity at the Korean National Red Cross shaping up so far this year? Were there any individual or corporate donations that particularly stood out?
Yes, the Korean Red Cross expects to raise approximately 200 billion won in 2025. About half of the donations are in cash, and the rest are in kind contribution. Looking at the South Korea as a whole, total donations are estimated around 16 trillion won in 2025, and these figures has been gradually increasing each year. Corporate donations tend to fluctuate year to year, while individual contributions have been steadily increasing. Every donation story is really meaningful for us. One example that stood out was a Japanese traveler who recently made a generous donation along with a handwritten note at the Korean Red Cross donation box at the airport. The note read, "I enjoyed my trip to South Korea. Please use remaining money to help children in need." I think this story shows us that the desire to help others goes beyond race, nationality, religion, or background, and it can help build a sense of global solidarity.
Right, that is very heartwarming. And as the regional representative for Turkey and Syria earthquake operations yourself, how would you describe the current situation there, and how have donations from South Korea helped support people in need in the region?
As the person working on the ground, I can say that while many positive changes have been made, serious needs still remain. After 2023 earthquake, the Korean people donated around 40 billion won. With this support, we have provided humanitarian assistance to about 1.7 million people in Turkey and Syria, including mass feeding, relief items, medical care, psychosocial support, and construction of temporary shelter and blood centers. Thanks to this support, even in the disaster area, I was able to see children's smiles and hear their laughter. However, when I visited the field just 1 week ago, I still saw collapsed buildings and families living in temporary shelters. Short-term support, such as food and housing, is possible, but the long-term recovery perspective, especially the restoration of local livelihoods and mental well-being, still remains major challenges. And therefore, I'm concerned that as public attention fades, there is a real risk that this disaster may be forgotten, despite the meaningful progress made possible by generous donations so far.
Right, and the public interest is crucial to resolving that situation. And how has the culture of giving changed in recent years? Technology has made donating easier, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic, right? How significant has that shift been?
The culture of giving has clearly changed in recent years, especially after the pandemic. In the past, donations were often focused on charity or tax benefit. Today, people are not only giving for those purposes, they are looking for meaning and enjoyment as well. Fundraising has become more engaging, and in many cases, it truly means raising funds by raising funds. One clear example of this trend is celebrity fan culture, which is fandom. In 2025 alone, fans of popular artists such as Im Young-wook, Young-tak, Jang Min-ho, and Hwang Young-woong, they supported the Korean Red Cross not only through donation, but also through volunteering. The themes of giving has also become more diverse. We now extend beyond the traditional areas such as disaster relief and welfare to include animal welfare, environmental issues, diversity, and mental health. In response, the Korean Red Cross is expanding its service, including pet CPR training, tree planting project for climate actions, and psychosocial support in disaster. Finally, the way people donate has also changed, from cash to more diverse and digital forms, including stocks, reward points, and even cryptocurrencies. In short, today's culture of giving is about fun, new technology, participation, and positive social impact.
Right, it's more than just about donating money. So for our viewers who would like to help those in need this Christmas, what would be the most effective way to donate?
Right, there are many ways to take part in giving, even with a small gesture. If you simply search the word donation on the website, you will find many causes and areas where you can help based on what matters most to you. So I'd like to invite you to pause for a moment and look around and extend your hands to those in need. And please do not turn away from any call for help. And also giving is not only about the money. You can support others through volunteering or by donating blood to save lives. Most importantly, what truly matters is caring about helping others. And none of our humanitarian achievement would be possible without the generous support of donors and dedication of the volunteers. So I sincerely thank you all and wish you a warm and peaceful holiday season. For the last, Korean Red Cross will always be here to support those in need and work together with you.
All right, Mr. Park, thank you so much for your time and insight today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Chu Ji-hyun, and this is The World Now. The U.S. Justice Department has released new documents on the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, which revealed that President Donald Trump flew on Epstein's private jet more frequently than previously reported. Nearly 30,000 pages of documents were released on Monday in the largest document drop yet. They include an email from a federal prosecutor which confirms Trump took at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including one where only he and Epstein were listed as passengers. The Justice Department on Tuesday warned the release includes untrue and sensationalist claims and said a letter claiming to be from Epstein to Larry Nassar was confirmed to be fake by the FBI. The White House dismissed the release as a political distraction filled with unfounded claims. A private jet carrying Libya's military chief and 4 top officers crashed on Tuesday, killing everyone on board. General Muhammad Ali Ahmad al-Haddad died alongside the head of ground forces and 3 other senior staff members. Turkish authorities lost contact with the Falcon 50 jet 40 minutes after takeoff from Ankara's Esenboğa airport on Tuesday night. Witnesses reported seeing an explosion light up the night sky near the village of Kesikavak. The delegation was returning from high-level defense talks in Ankara. In the U.S. on Tuesday, an explosion at a nursing home near Philadelphia collapsed a section of the building, trapping elderly residents inside. Rescue crews from across the region are currently searching the rubble for survivors at the 174-bed Silver Lake Healthcare Center in Bristol Township. Authorities said there had been injuries reported, but did not confirm any fatalities. Local schools have been converted into emergency shelters. A public utility crew was already on site when the explosion occurred following reports of a gas smell. The cause of the explosion is still being investigated. Representatives of British street artist Banksy confirmed a new mural that appeared in London on Monday is the work of a reclusive artist. The image in Bayswater features 2 children in winter gear lying on the ground, with one of them pointing toward the sky. Watchers say the work is a commentary on homelessness. The Bayswater mural follows the appearance of an identical one last Friday near London's Centre Point Tower, an area known for housing crisis protests, although Banksy has not admitted to being the artist of the earlier work.
It was a rough morning commute with yesterday's wet weather remaining icy on the cold ground. And it is Christmas Eve today, and unlike yesterday, skies will gradually clear and temperatures will stay mild with no major cold concerns. But brace for a sharp cold snap on Christmas Day, and on Friday, we're looking at temperatures to plunge to minus 12 degrees Celsius here in the capital, and of course, the wind chill will make it even colder. And this afternoon, afternoon, Seoul will be getting up to 6 degrees Celsius, as well as Chuncheon, Gwangju topping out at 9 degrees. Meanwhile, tomorrow could be a white Christmas for some parts, with light snow expected along the west coast and mountainous areas of Jeju Island. Now, the Christmas holiday cold spell will gradually ease from Saturday afternoon, and early next week, rain or snow is expected in the capital region. Well, if you plan to be outdoors during the holiday season, it is important to dress warmly and manage body heat carefully.
That's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at noon Korea time. Thanks for watching.